All right, peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. A Long Island fire chief, and his name is Peter Alt. There you see him right here. He should probably be known as Peter Alt-Right because he has been caught on video this past Monday cursing at, berating, and possibly using a racial slur to a 10-year-old child that was having a mental health crisis as she was being loaded into the ambulance. Now, I'm going to play you this video, but also I'm going to read you an article that the New York Times wrote justifying his behavior and blaming the parents. Just take a look at this video. Of course, this video is used in fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. Check it out.
Causing outrage in West Babylon. You hear a fire chief in that video berating a little girl as she's put in an ambulance. The child is heard pleading for help. News 4's Paisley Chang has the reaction from the town and the new punishment that fire chief is now facing.
Well, we spoke with the grandmother of this 10-year-old. The grandma wasn't home at the time when this happened, but she said that her granddaughter was having an episode. She had become enraged because her mother had taken away her phone as punishment. The grandmother was completely stunned to watch this video to see how this first responder, now identified as a fire chief, treated her granddaughter. Expletives directed at a 10-year-old girl on a stretcher, recorded by a witness alarmed by a first responder's language. That first responder identified as North Babylon Volunteer Fire Company Chief Peter Alt.
Maybe it was a blessing I wasn't there because I probably would have jumped all over this guy.
The girl's grandma wasn't home when this happened. She says her daughter called police for help when the girl became enraged and out of control.
That's not a professional way to deal with anyone. I mean, I wouldn't want them speaking to my children like that or my family. I'd be outraged myself as well.
Neighbors stunned by the harsh language used and say police are often called to the house.
There's been a few times over the summer where we've seen the police and fire over there, but they never treated the young lady like that.
After viewing the video, the department says Alt has been relieved of his duties while they investigate, calling the conduct unacceptable.
I'm just so mad. When you call for help, you call the police, the fire department, they're supposed to help you, not treat you like garbage and threaten you and curse at you, a child at that.
The North Babylon Volunteer Fire Company says they are reviewing their policies and procedures to see if they need to do any additional training. And the town of Babylon is also investigating this entire incident. Reporting from West Babylon, Paisley Chang, News 4, New York.
All right, so there you have it. And why in these situations, they always mention how the department is looking into if they need to do more training. Let me drop this bomb on you. You can't train away racism. You can't train away hatred. You can't train away inbred evil values from this guy. 10 years old, you can hear him telling her, shut the F up. Every effing week, I got to deal with you. Shut your mouth. And I saw another video, and I'm not going to play that video because they played the actual words he was saying, which made it even worse. But as he was closing the door, he mumbled something under his breath that many people feel that he said effing N-word. Now, allegedly. But this situation, once again, highlights the embedded racism in American society, whether it's the fire department, the chief, the bankers, the lawyers, the doctors, the pharmacists. Everywhere you go, you have people like this guy, Peter Alt-Right, who is eventually going to let the racism slip out. Now, the girl said she was, 10 years old. Somebody took her phone. I've heard several instances like this these days where children, both black and white, and mind you, this was a black girl, throw temper tantrums. I can't count all the times I've seen little white children throw temper tantrums and throw stuff around and fall out on the floor, yell and scream and cuss at their parents, right? So for this situation that happened, and I'm going to like the New York Post, and I'm going to read this article. You're going to be dumbfounded as I am. The New York Post is literally blaming bad parenting for the Chiefs' outburst. And I'm going to read your headline. I hope it baffles you as much as it does me. But that's just another attempt to pass the buck, to pass the blame to the black family. And the grandmother said her daughter called the police, which I wouldn't have done. You know, like I wish my parents would have called the police on me when I was a kid instead of hitting me with that belt. But that's a whole nother story. I probably deserve a lot of them. Nevertheless, you know, they called the police and, you know, the fire chief came, whatever. And I guess he was tired of coming. And the neighbor did say the police have been called there a few times this summer. So evidently, this is a situation where the girl needs some, you know, mental help, mental help, you know, some help with her mental health. So nevertheless, the grandmother said, look, man, y'all glad I'm there because I'd have jumped all over the guy, which is probably true. Now, if the grandmother was there, probably wouldn't have been going down like that. You know, she might would have yoked the child up. But of course, parenting styles are different. I was whooped as a kid, but I've never whooped my daughter. So that's just it. But she's, you know, is a very good girl. Thank the Lord. Now, let's get back to this New York Post article with us. This is an example of how, once again, society is going to excuse his behavior and pass the buck like that is wrong. As a matter of fact, read this article with me real quick, man. Then I'm gonna let y'all go. But just check this out, man. You can't make this up. First of all, and read the title of it. Blame bad parenting for Long Island fire chief's viral outburst at a young girl. They're blaming the parents for his behavior. Instant lynch mobs got it wrong again, calling for the head of Long Island firefighter caught in a viral video yelling at a 10-year-old child while loading her in the back of an ambulance went viral. Yes, the footage seems damning. It shows North Babylon Fire Chief Peter Altright shouting, "Shut the F up." It's like this is you every effing week. At the girl who's crying, "I don't want to go, I want to go home." Internet outrage has already stripped out of its duties pending an investigation. Even minimal digging to the bigger picture tells a different tale. Someone should have laid down the law with this girl and her parents long before now. The story begins with the girl throwing a monstrous tantrum after her mom took her phone away. Facing that emotional distress, the mother chose to call the first responders to help her calm down. Using emergency service to parent your out-of-control kid for you is bad enough. Even worse, this wasn't the first time. Seems volunteer firefighters have been summoned multiple times just to someone to deal with the girl's mammoth fit. You see the words they're using? Monstrous, mammoth. What are they doing? Dehumanizing the little girl. If this was a white girl, it would have been just she was having a crisis. No wonder Alt finally had enough. The girl's relatives and neighbors took shockingly blasé about the whole thing, admitting that yes, emergency personnel have had to show up and play babysitter before, but they're usually so understanding. That's clearly part of the problem. He goes on to say that, you know, EMS shouldn't be used for parenting. If the girl's caregivers were to offload their little tyrant onto someone else, how dare they get upset when the first responders set boundaries they're willing to. Okay, cursing at a child is setting boundaries. While Alt's approach was hardly gentle, parenting this 10-year-old clearly needed someone in her life to show her tough love. The adults in her life are clearly failing her miserably. If she's not set strong, she's all too likely in a few years to be getting hauled back into the back of a cop car instead of an ambulance. Hey, look, he should be reinstated. This is, who wrote this article? Post editorial board. So that is from the New York Times themselves. And I'm going to stop sharing that racist article. Let's call it what it is. That is from the New York Times itself. They put that out themselves. So that should show you how your editors at the New York Post feel about this. So here's a man who's cussing and yelling at a child who's in a position of public service, who's supposed to have those skills, yelling at a child, and then we have someone blaming the parents for his actions. I beg to differ. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, as always, peace and blessings.